We asked Swagoo to put together a bold prediction for us, and this one's pretty bold. Go ahead, Marcus. Tell Charles what your prediction is.
Chuck, I got the 76ers coming out the East to go to the finals, man. And I went bold, but it's not that far-fetched, right? Like, you think about it. They made the move, put Ben Simmons at the power forward position, Shake Milton running the point. They young, they balling, they were great at home. So now you in the bubble, you don't have to travel anywhere. They playing all their games right there in the bubble. And they got Al Horford. And whether the big fella can carry them through the playoffs, down low in Joel Embiid, who I think is the best big man in the league when he's at full force, that might not be far-fetched for the 76ers to come out the East as a bold prediction, bro.
What do you think, Charles Barkley?
I actually 100% agree with Marcus. Let me tell you something. If the Sixers lost in the first round, I would not be shocked. If the Sixers won the championship or made it to the finals, I wouldn't be shocked. They're like a box of chocolates, man. You got no idea what you're going to. They remind me, like the Forrest Gump said, they're like a box of chocolates. You have no idea what you're going to get.
How would you, if I asked you to describe Ben Simmons as a basketball player, the talent is overwhelming in so many ways, but the deficiencies are so obvious. If you were to describe, Charles Barkley, what you think of Ben Simmons as a player and what he is in the league and can become, how would you do it?
He's a very good player. He's an all-star, but he can never be a great player unless he learns how to shoot. And I've said that before. Like, we got a bunch of good players in the NBA. We got an all-star, then we got superstars. He can only be an all-star level player until he learns how to shoot the ball. He doesn't have to be a Glenn Rice or Jeff Hornacek or Steve Kerr or somebody like that, but he's got to be at least able to shoot it. Listen, Magic Johnson became a good shooter. Remember when Magic first came to the NBA, he couldn't shoot. He made himself a decent, good enough shooter. And Ben cannot become a superstar until he learned how to shoot the ball, period.
Yeah, Jason Kidd did the same thing, right? Jason Kidd
reinvented himself.
Jason
Go ahead,
Kidd,
Marcus.
that's actually a better example because they're similar. Ben's a little bit bigger, but they're both the same body type.
Go ahead, Marcus.
G, can I ask Chuck a question?
Yes.
Big bro, let me ask you this. What would the difference be, all right? Because I've been thinking about this. What's the difference between Ben and Giannis outside of Giannis being more aggressive to the hole? Couldn't Ben be like that? Because we had the same questions about Giannis' ability to shoot as well as Ben Simmons. Ben wouldn't shoot. And now he's trying to figure out how to get his shot going. And he's taken a couple while he's been in the bubble, a couple three-pointers, hit a few, showing a more willingness to shoot the ball. But what's the difference outside of aggressiveness? We understand that. But couldn't he be the same type of player as Giannis?
Chuck?
Well, the problem is you can match up with Ben. You can't match up with Giannis. You can't put a little guy on him. You can't put a big guy on him because of his wingspan and how athletic he is. He reminds me of a Kevin Durant, a Dirk Nowitzki type player. You know, Marcus, there's some guys you can match up with. You can put a big guy on him or you can put a little guy. But when you get a guy that athletic, like a Dirk or Kevin Durant or Giannis, you don't know who to put on them. But the reason, unless Ben learned how to shoot, those guys are just backing up on him. Mm-hmm. So they make him one-dimensional. Yep. And that's the difference right there. He's got to learn. He just got to be able to shoot a little bit, put fear in your heart.
I love that. And by the way, Marcus, you brought us right where I wanted to go next with Chuck anyway, and that is to Giannis. So maybe Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks win a championship here, and everyone is happy. But if they get knocked out early, I've had multiple people on here, analysts and insiders, Charles, telling me that there will start to be conversations. Other teams, other players around the league are going to be whispering in his ear. There will start to be discussion about Giannis's long-term future. What is your expectation regarding Giannis's long-term future if the Bucks don't win this thing?
Yeah, that concerns me, Greeny. We'll have another Kevin Durant situation, and we really don't want that. Listen, I hope that Milwaukee, but I don't care who wins. I think it'll be great for basketball if the Bucks won because Giannis is such a great kid, and Milwaukee is one of the most underrated cities in the NBA. It's a terrific. First of all, it's Ernie Johnson's hometown, so it's always going to be a great place. But I think it would be great for the NBA. Like last year, I think it was great that Toronto won the championship. It was great for the NBA, and I think it'll be great if Milwaukee won it this year.
Marcus, let me ask you the question a different way, because you love no one. For those of you who don't know, no one loves basketball more than Marcus does, and you're a pure fan. Do you think, because there'll be people who will say the league is better off when the glamour franchises, the marquee franchises are in there, that Giannis could, God help us, resurrect the Knicks or go to one of the other sort of traditional big city, big market kind of teams. Do you think the league is better and is better for fans when a guy like Giannis is in Milwaukee, or if he were to go to the equivalent of the Lakers?
I think the league is better if he's in Milwaukee and someone else is willing to come to that market. I mean, we wasn't talking about Cleveland being great for the NBA until LeBron went there after Cleveland had their glory years prior to. You look at what Kawhi did in Toronto. How exciting was that for Kawhi to go to Toronto and the Raptors end up being in the finals? So I think the league is great. Basketball, the one thing I love about basketball, G, and I appreciate you always making it known. I don't come on here claiming to be. These guys played in the NBA, but I watched the game in depth. I've been around the game for a long time. I think the NBA in this day and age is better when you have not a so-called small market team being really good, but when you can get these teams outside of being one-offs to compete at a high level. We look at Toronto now in the East. They're playing. They got a really good coach. They playing at a high level in the East. We having conversations about the great teams, obviously the history, tradition, the Celtics with Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So it's a few teams out there still big market, but it would be a hell of a ride to see Giannis win the Milwaukee Bucks a championship.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.